So let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Somebody always raises the arms up on this chair when I'm here, and I feel like a little kid in a high chair at a table. Who sits in here? Is it Dixon that sits in here like this, like Lurch,
I don't know.
like
It may,
Herman
maybe it's
Munster,
maybe it's
Andrew
Andrew.
Rang? It could be Andrew.
Yeah.
I don't mean to blame Dixon. I actually get to see he and Val this Friday because we got Job on Jam. You excited?
I'm super excited.
Good job on Jam. We're giving away tickets today.
Yeah.
People have been asking about that. We got a pair to give away at some point during the show. AJ's generally the boss man when it comes to how we do that. You got a plan today? You're gonna do
I'm gonna do it like I did last time. Play a song from one of the artists that is gonna be performing.
Yep.
At Job on Jam. You either gonna hear. Well, I already did the Brother Kane, so it's either gonna be a Stone Horses song, or a cattle song.
Let me guess which one it probably. This is it. Our last giveaway before
it's gonna be the last. Well, for us at least.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this is the last time on our show. You can get yourself a couple of tickets to get over there with us. It's gonna be a big old time. We're getting all excited. I was talking to Val today, doing some planning. I'm a little bit draggy today. I just put on a fresh pot of coffee.
Yeah.
I had to get up at 4 a.m. to take my son to the airport.
Woo.
And his bride and his baby.
I bet that was a good drive. Oh, but the baby was asleep.
So quiet. The baby slept the whole time. There's no traffic. Nobody was at the airport. So I dropped him off right before 5. And I looked over and I said, that looks like Janice Rogers. And I thought, that ain't Janice. Because whoever it was busy. I was busy. We were trying to help them get their stuff in the door. You know, you can't leave your car. So I'm trying to watch the car and watch them. Then I looked and it was Janice Rogers. It was like Janice and I worked together 30-something years ago. And I mean, we're all still friends around town. I just don't see her very much. And I looked at her and I said, hey, aren't you supposed to be on TV right now?
Mm-hmm.
She said, I'm heading that way. But she was dropping her son off and I'm dropping my son off. It was just cosmic to me that we're old enough now that I'm introducing her to my grandbaby and she's dropping her son off to go to do professional work in Chicago. It's a small world, man.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's so funny because, like, you know, you said to her what people say to you when they see you in places where they think you're supposed to be on the radio. You're like, aren't you supposed to be on the radio?
Yeah, what are you doing up so early? Don't you work in the afternoons?
I thought you'd be asleep.
Yeah. Well, I will be in a few minutes. I never did get to do that again. It was just one of those days where here I am. Now, it was good to see Janice. I tell you, you know, the media takes a hit on shows like this all the time, but we've got some people like her. She's probably not even listening right now, but we got some people like Janice, and I started naming names, people that I learned to respect decades ago that are just the best. They're just regular folks doing a really good job for this community, and it was nice to see. It was nice to see her. Man, what else we got before I dig in and get too heavy? 545-9950 is phone number if y'all want to get in on the show, and we'll put you on the radio. That's how we do it every single day. Let me start. I'm going to start with COVID today. We've got some updates on the map wars, which has become utterly exhausting and a little bit confusing state to state. Alabama's in a predicament where even though we think we know what they're going to do, that could still change. Same thing, South Carolina's up in the air, Mississippi's up in the air, and we'll get to some of that. But the bigger story today, and it blew my mind. I didn't even realize this was going on because we have so much happening. But there was a hearing in the United States Senate today over the COVID issue. And let me back up 5 steps and reframe this whole thing. The most consequential event probably of our lifetimes, if you're listening to me now and you're alive, and I assume that's most of you, it was probably COVID. When I say consequential, I don't mean shocking because 9/11 was shocking. Some of y'all lived through periods like the Vietnam War era or maybe the Civil Rights era. All that was consequential. But the thing that derailed the world was COVID. And we're still paying for it in the economy. We're just crawling out of, because it was a sequence of things. It was the shutdown and then the money they flooded the economy with, which screwed up pricing and everything. The whole business model has not been right since. Housing, energy, all these things were affected by that. And then we foolishly allowed the Biden administration to take over, and they flooded more money into the economy. Remember, Milton Friedman said this. This is not my original thought, but producers do not cause inflation. Consumers do not cause inflation. It's impossible. It's against their own interest. The government spending money causes inflation. That's it. That's it. And they have repeatedly done things. Even you could even say the Iran war is an example of that, because this disruption in energy supplies is causing some increases, of course, in oil and gas, and that's the government. It's the government either taking action, regulation, and spending money. So, so COVID is something that's going to take a long time to recover from. People are still jumpy. We got these norovirus outbreaks, so to speak, or incidents really happening on these cruise ships. Everybody's freaking out like we're going to go back to those days because we're in a critical election year. That is not the case. I think it's just not the case. That's not how that virus behaves. But COVID was something else. And we said it, we couldn't prove it, but we just knew it because we've got common sense the whole time, from the very minute that story got out into the world as this disease and it hit China first. If I could take y'all back in the hot tub time machine, we'd remember how it looked. We were laughing at China at one point. I remember doing a show one day. We were laughing at them running around with their masks and they were sealing themselves into buildings. We thought, those damn crazy Chinese. By the way, our president's in China today. Not a big coincidence, I guess. But the whole time, this guy most of us had never heard of, Anthony Fauci, was intruding himself to cover for himself and lying to the world. And that man has unmitigated death on his hands. And today there was a whistleblower and proof. And let me I can't paint the drama of it any more so than it was today in the Senate hearing room. So here's what we have. We have a CIA whistleblower that still works for the CIA that came forward to testify in front of the Senate about a lot of the CIA's malfeasance, but specifically, and under the questioning of Rand Paul, he pointed to the specific ways that Anthony Fauci, who does not work for the CIA, did not work for the CIA, intruded himself on the CIA's handling of COVID. And he got into the mix, inserted himself, claimed to be a subject expert to give guidance to the CIA so they would lie to the rest of the world about the origin of the disease. Put simply, it was in a lab that Fauci funded with our money. And whether it was intentionally leaked or it got out by accident, Fauci knew exactly what he was dealing with the minute the alarm bells went off in the lab. And the man, we know, we have the emails and the documents where he called all of his minions together, told them to start deleting stuff. He gave one set of directions and then flip-flopped on it because he needed to go with this narrative that it was just natural and we didn't know the origins of it. It could be anything. Here's what we all have to do. They were like, we don't know what it is or where it came from, but here's what we all need to do. And then they were very specific on how to disrupt your life and lock you down, and none of that was accurate either. This man is one of the biggest liars, and you could argue that he has more death and destruction on his hand. I'm not kidding. You can argue that he has more death at his hands than Adolf Hitler. Hitler's regime killed millions. So did Fauci, because this affected the world. And he immediately, like Dr. Frankenstein, I mean, this guy went into cover-up mode. Trump was naive and trusting him, and the scarf lady. These are supposed to be high-paid, brilliant government officials doing their best for the country, and they weren't. They were lying the whole time. So today was direct testimony into the Senate record as to what Fauci did to manipulate the CIA, and some blame the CIA as well because they wanted the right spin on it. And then they used the whole issue to control the economy, to silence speech, stop people from going to church, subsidize laziness and corruption to the tune of almost $1 trillion during that period, and to affect the election and the election rules so they could steal the 2020 election. It's amazing. It's amazing that we sat back and had to wait 6 years to get the truth. But it came out in a Senate hearing today, and these sleaze bags, these commie-hugging, criminal-loving, illegal alien coddling sleaze bags in the Democrat Party did not show up at the hearing. Not a one showed up to question the whistleblower. They didn't want to give it any more publicity, but luckily it was carried live. None of them. None of the Democrat members of the United States Senate showed up at the hearing. Now, let me pause there and tie that to the map fight. Here's Alabama among the other states that have an opportunity to draw constitutional maps and not give the Democrats one damn seat of an advantage to have power in this country in the coming election, and they just failed to do it. A senator in South Carolina tried to block their efforts. The governor of Mississippi is trying to block their efforts. They're weak. They're just weak, and they don't believe in fighting. As my good friend Jeff Poore, he wrote a piece. I don't know when he wrote the piece, but I saw it today. Clearly points out your mailbox is full of promises from these same a-holes. I'm talking about the Republicans right now. Your mailbox is full of how they're a conservative fighter. I'm going to fight. I'm a fighter. I've been fighting since I was a poor child. Grew up on a farm picking my own cotton. You've heard the stories. And Jesus saved me from the cotton fields and gave me a gun and said, son, go out there and fend for yourself. So I'm a fighter. I'm basically Daniel Boone, who loves Jesus, and Trump, by the way. Maybe Trump more than Jesus. That's what the ads say right now. But what are they doing? Wimping out. That's what they do. Completely wimped out. The old tired governor, she's already pulled over at the rest stop for the rest of her administration. She wimped out. And here the Democrats behaving this way on Capitol Hill. Again, the most consequential thing that's happened in our lifetimes that we're still paying a price for it. There are some of your kids that'll be behind in education for the rest of their lives because of the disruption in the school routine. There are economic damages in businesses that are gone from the map. They don't exist in our country anymore, in our communities. The restaurant industry is still being devastated by what happened to it during COVID. Again, here's the thing. We never had to shut down. We never had to put up the plastic. We never had to wear those damn little paper masks. They were counting on the public being mostly ignorant about molecular biology, and we did it anyway out of obedience and compliance and mandates, and we lampooned it and made fun of it the whole time. Every single day we were telling y'all this was ridiculous. Turns out it was. It wasn't just that they lied about the origins of it. They lied about what was needed to deal with it, and there were people that died in the hospitals that were getting the wrong treatments because the doctors weren't told the truth about what they were dealing with. So you had hospitals that, remember how they would go to intubation as soon as somebody would come in testing positive for COVID. Remember, we didn't even really have a good test. They'd come in and they'd stick a tube down them to keep them breathing because that was protocol based on what their knowledge was of the disease. The reason they didn't have a proper pathology or an actual example of the spike protein and all the stuff that was involved in the very early days, because Fauci hid the evidence. Let me repeat that. Anthony Fauci, who, by the way, the Democrats allowed their potato head, auto pen signing ex-president to give a pardon to. Anthony Fauci was deceptively letting people die with bad advice so he could cover for himself the whole time. Every news conference when he was standing there next to Trump, straight liar. Death on his hands, blood on his hands, and he's getting away with it. And today was another example of that. And again, you won't even see, I'll bet you $100. I'll just bet AJ, not all y'all, I'd go broke. AJ, $100. Big Head Benjamin. Mm-hmm. ABC, NBC, and CBS will not cover the hearing today. They'll act like it didn't happen. These guys are the best at memory holing anything they want to memory hole. It was crazy. I was in a delirium. I told y'all I had to get up real early and do a drive, and I was just not even all with it for about 2-3 hours this morning. I was like, I can't do it anymore. I got to have my sleep. So I was just like kind of out of it. Had not had any coffee. This hearing starts. I got it on in the background. I went, what am I hearing right now? Who is this? I had to dial into it. I was like, this is crazy. At any other time in history, this would be front page stuff. There wouldn't be anything in the news that would rival it. Yet we still come up with superficial nonsense. There are people driving down the road right now that can tell you more about the recruiting class at Alabama and Auburn than can tell you about any of this or the Constitution or the election coming up or any of that stuff. But we know that stuff. It's an amazing time. All right, so a lot to do today. We got fraud stuff. J.D. Vance had a huge news conference on fraud. We're going to get some of that. We will get you updated on any of the map wars. Man, I already got – let me see if I can get Philip in here real quick. We got our first call We'll go ahead and take that and get set up for the rest of the day. Philip, what's on your mind?
Hey, Leland.
Hey, man.
I just wondered if any of your listeners out there has had an issue with their power bill doubling in the last 3 to 4 months. And I'm not just frivolously saying that. I've done everything the power company says do, including changing windows in the house.
Really?
And my power bill is almost $800.
Good Lord. What are you living in a tent?
There's no way a family of two can use $800 worth.
Yeah, you've got an issue, man. You got some kind of electrical issue. Mine has. I can only tell you about mine. Mine was high a few months back, I think, during the winter, and now it's right back down to where it normally is this time of the year.
What did you do?
I do anything. It went high because of the peak demand period of when it got super cold last winter. I think that's the highest bill I've had. So.
I've got a question with that.
All right.
Now, if you use 4,500 kilowatt hours in December or November, okay?
Yep.
And you use 1,500 kilowatt hours in today,
right?
And your bill is 3 times as high. No.
So what? Hold on. So let me figure out what you're saying, and I got to get this right. But I'm fascinated with your call. So you're saying that the hours shown on your particular bill are less than when your bill was high, and
yes,
but your bill's still
no,
high.
No. It's opposite. When it was low, when my KW was low, that's the highest.
Yeah.
When my KW was high, it was the lowest.
Well, you definitely have an issue with the power company. That obviously that's not logical. But
I even got them to do adjustments. I mean, not adjustments, but I guess exam on it.
Yeah.
In November, it was costing me $8 a day, which is a little high, maybe. But today, just in the last week, it was costing me $10 a day, and I've got less KW, but 3 times the power bill.
Man, you've got some kind of look. You really do have some kind of engineering or leakage or something's going on, or your bill, your meter itself is probably screwed up. I actually pulled my power bill up, Philip, to take a look at how mine has ranged, and my peak was back in February, which is crazy because I was also gone for 2 weeks of February. So they were probably estimating back then, and that was the peak wattage for me. At 2,300 watts, my bill was $388 plus some this exterior light that they charged me for. So the highest bill I've had is $400 at 2,300 watts. You got less wattage than that. Your bill shouldn't be that high for sure.
Absolutely, and that's what I'm trying to find.
Is it Alabama Power?
I mean, I have called power company twice.
Yeah.
But they're supposed to be sending somebody out here.
Yeah, you need some help.
Meter and.
Is it Alabama Power?
So, well, sure.
Okay. Well, I mean,
and here's
we got a big area.
You want to hear the kicker?
Yeah. What's the kicker?
You want to really hear the kicker?
Let's hear that kicker.
I'm a retiree from.
Well, then you ought to have an inside track on somebody to call.
I should, Phillip, but I don't have no help.
I got to get a break, man. I think you just put the alarm call
out.
Right,
somebody, man. I appreciate you.
Thanks. Somebody in the PR department's on the bat phone right now at Alabama Power trying to find Philip and his situation. Yeah, that's a local issue. Mine have been crazy, and we all knew they were going to be crazy in February, but I literally just looked back over my bill, and it hasn't been out of whack. So it's probably something right there at your property. Okay, quick break. Back in a minute. Y'all stay tuned. What is the ACI? I don't even know what that is.
I have no idea, but it's deer tick. So,
okay, who is this?
Deer tick.
Okay, all right.
What's the name of the band?
You live and learn. Gutter Cap bringing you the show tonight. Let's get started with the wonderful sponsors that we have. If you got gutters, you need Gutter Cap. You need Gutter Cap. You don't need any other gutter cover. You need Gutter Cap, and I sincerely believe that. Chris and his team have just put out the superior product for all this time. They've been in business, I think, 25 plus years or close to 25 years. A-plus rated with the Better Business Bureau. And they've got the product that works. It is an aluminum or metal-based product that will not rust, will not warp, can handle the elements. And when they produce it, when they come to do the install, each section is produced custom fit for your space. It eliminates the seams in the structure, and it's just going to get the water in and keep the stuff out, and you're not going to have to be cleaning your gutters. This is what you want. Here's the kicker. The last caller had a kicker. 45% off right now with their spring sale at Gutter Cap. 45% off their retail price with this continuation of the spring sale. I thought they ended it. Then they came right back with it because it was so successful. 45% off. Here's how you get them. It's guttercapbirmingham.com. Don't get confused. There are a lot of other sneaky little businesses that are trying to sound like them. Don't go to the wrong one. It's guttercapbirmingham.com. 823-2212. Of course, that is a 2005 number. Y'all can tell them I sent you too. And bring up that 45% right off the bat. And you'll be extremely pleased with how everything works. Gutter Cap Birmingham. Man, in addition to the CIA stuff over the COVID issue and all that, there are these repeated reports, and I think it came up in the hearing today, that Tulsi Gabbard was sitting down with a bunch of old documents related to the MK Ultra program that the CIA ran for years, drugging people and experimenting on people. And they had 40 boxes of documents in her office that she had managed to get her hands on. She was getting ready to declassify them. The CIA just showed up and took them away from her. What? We'll have to follow up on that. Does she have any authority? They're a little bit rogue right now. I think we need a do-over with that agency. All right, back here in a minute, bottom of the hour, Lead On Live. Y'all hang on. Is that old school or is that new sounding old school?
That is new school. It's Zach Deputy, the music.
Dude, I'm liking the throwback stuff.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, all the genres should do it.
Yeah.
This Ella Langley from Alabama has just knocked Taylor Swift off. I don't listen to all that music, but her song is just like old 90s sounding.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of sweet, sentimental. Doesn't sound robotic. Do that, kids. go discover your parents' music and steal it.
just like clothes.
It's what we did. Did I ever tell you about? Did we talk about this last week? You know this Michael Jackson thing that's been. So I had no idea. I'd heard the name Bob Fosse, but he was an old actor, dancer in the movies, and apparently Michael Jackson stole almost all his moves from this guy. I was like, no. And then I watched the clip and I'm like, well, yep, that's pretty much the whole Beat It video. This guy did a movie called The Little Prince back in the 70s. Have you seen this clip? It's pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And he's doing all those moves where he gets up on his toes and does his head. Michael Jackson was obsessed with this guy and just mimicked it. And we thought it was original.
Oh, yeah. The moonwalk and everything. Yeah.
He got all that from somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
But that's okay. I think it's a tribute to your elders when you do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
As long as you don't say it's original or stealing it. How'd I even get into all that?
I mean, they just rename it and rebrand it, and that's how they make it original now.
That's all right. It's all right with me. All right, let's keep going. It's better than some of the new stuff anyway. Let's see, 2:35. Let's do this thing. Alabama Dental Associates next up. Here on the show, we all need a dentist. Some of you hate it. I get it. Dr. Brian gets it. That's why they've tried to do everything they can in this practice to make it as comfortable and easy for you and convenient to get quality dental care and not have to throw your whole week off. That is the expanded hours. So when they sat back and said, how can we build a practice that is different from all the other practices? The first thing they did was that, well, at the time there were 3 of them and they've grown. I like to think it's because they're on the show with us, but they've added a 4th dentist over the years. But so they started staying late. As late as nowadays 7 o'clock at night, and then they open up on Saturdays, which was different and convenient. And then, of course, when you've got that many dentists, they by design have different specialties, so they're all not doing each other's work. Gives them a broad array of talent under one building. You just can't get that in a single dentist practice. They're gonna have to send you somewhere if it's a specialty thing, and they're gonna be open in normal hours. Not a knock. You probably have a great dentist if you have a dentist that does it that way, but this is a better way. It really is. I love the convenience. I love knowing I've got all that expertise, all that. Man, I don't even know what their investment in all that high-tech equipment is, but they'll get you taken care of for something you don't really want to have to do. But just like taking your car in to get your brakes done or anything else, life throws these things at us. Let's take care of things. And y'all go to the dentist at alabamadental.com, alabamadental.com. All right, let's talk about fraud for a minute. Somewhere today I read where somebody called it the war on fraud. I thought, why not? Rather than call somebody a fraud czar, let's use that. So the Trump administration, they've tasked J.D. Vance, because he's got Rubio on the China trip, so J.D. needs some publicity. I think we're going to see some of that going toward if we get through these midterms. These two, and I don't think it's an overstatement to say rock stars on the Republican side appealing to their base and both trying to keep their visibility up. It's difficult for vice presidents. It's notorious for a sort of a no-show job. I mean, there's not much for a vice president to do. They'll give them titles. Like, remember when they gave Kamala the border czar title and she didn't even go? Like, she didn't even go. I think she took one trip to Central America. She's going to get it to the root causes. This idiot. She just wanted the title. JD's looking for something to do because Rubio's got 19 jobs and has been stellar at all of them. And if I had to pick between the two right now, I'm picking Rubio. I'm straight picking Rubio. Even though, and he clowned Maduro. I don't know if he did this on purpose, but he gets on the plane to go to China, and he's got on the same tracksuit, the same Nike tracksuit that Maduro wore when he was snatched out of Venezuela. My question is, did we give him that tracksuit to wear, or was that what he was sleeping in? And did Rubio just have the same taste as Maduro? Or did he go, hey, that's a cool, you think he was watching the video, AJ, and said, it's a good looking tracksuit.
Yeah.
I'm going to get me one of those. Where can I get one of those?
Very stylish.
Yeah, I like the pinstripes.
Yeah.
It was cool. It was like got little stripes. It's a Nike, so I wouldn't wear it. But Yeah, there's Rubio on the plane in the Maduro tracksuit. There's a joke in there. I know there's a joke in there.
I mean, when you fly, you got to fly comfortably,
well,
right?
that's true. That's what everybody does.
You don't want to be in a nice full suit, tie, and dress shoes, and you flying what? I don't know how long the flight from here to China is.
It is at least 18 hours.
Yeah.
I've gone from L.A. to Hong Kong years and years ago, 18 hours.
Yeah, I'm not finna dress up.
18 freaking hours. Now I know you're on Air Force One. You can get up and walk around. They've got rooms.
I'm not gonna be on camera.
Yeah, that's true. I'm going full tracksuit.
Yeah.
By the way, Trump gets off the plane today, and China threw down. I mean, they are throwing a ceremony for him. Who knows? They're talking about $1 trillion deals. The Chinese are sneaky. I wouldn't trust any of them, but here we go. Anyway, back to J.D. Vance. So J.D.'s back home minding the store while Trump's over there with the Chi-Coms and the whole team. Elon Musk, all these tech heads, they got them all over there. And he did a fascinating news conference today, too. And I always wonder when an administration wants to stagecraft this stuff, are they stepping on the president by doing making headlines, or do they – I think in Trump's view, he wants the administration to look active while he's getting this stuff done. There's a huge time delay anyway. Everybody's asleep over there. It's like 3 a.m. right now in China. So J.D. Vance comes out with this fraud task force. He's been appointed to oversee all this stuff. And they were dropping bombs today about some of the fraud they're finding, and they made some moves. They just cut California off from a bunch of Medicaid funding. What we're finding, the Center for Medicare Services, Medical Services, CMS, I think they have like $1 trillion budget. It's one of the biggest line items in our government. Yes, even with defense standing there. And it is breaking our system. It is breaking our system. I've had so many conversations. We had one yesterday on the show about insurance companies. It just kind of came up as things do on the show sometimes, and about the insurance cost and all that. It was an unrelated subject. I was also discussing this with my doctor's son today on the way to the airport about how it works for him now. Doctors, hospitals, everybody's up against the wall with each other, trying to figure out how to make all this stuff work. And a lot of it is also they're bigger factors. The insurance markets have been a mess for a long time, but Obamacare was a big, gigantic, flaming bag of poo in the middle of the whole insurance equation, both with its regulation, its mandates, and the way it redirected resources, cut down competition, subsidized these giant companies. It's been a mess. But fraud is something that never gets talked about. The money that we put up as a people that is supposed to go to programs to help the most vulnerable among us. We've got these government programs. We already had Medicaid for poor people. We have Medicare for folks that get older. And I'm surprisingly getting close to being forced over. Once you get to a certain age, you're forced over into the Medicare system. And we pay into these things our whole lives. But rarely do we ever have conversations about the abuse and the waste of these programs and how mismanaged they are almost universally all over the country. And we've got left-wingers here in Alabama that want us to sign up for more. And I think I know why now. Because it's largely leftist blue cities and leftist states where this scam has been going on. And they have found, according to Dr. Oz today in the news conference, $100 billion in general findings so far in different states in that whole system. Now, that system is multi-faceted. One of the things we caught, I say we, the country caught in Minneapolis, and this is where the unraveling began, because it's really the incompetence and the hubris of Tim Walz and the scrutiny that was brought into that city because of Ilhan Omar. Maybe we should thank them. I'll send them a fruitcake this Christmas for being so stupid and bold as to call attention to themselves. It led to something as simple as this little kid named Nick Shirley with a camera to knock on a few doors and find out there is massive fraud going on with these programs. 100 licenses to one address. That's not rational. And no one in our government, almost no one in the government, especially state governments which administer these funds, here's how it works. We pay it in our check, out of our checks, and with our taxes and with our contributions to the programs from our deductions. The government funnels it through Washington. Everybody gets a skim in Washington. And then eventually they grant this stuff back to the states to administer programs according to the federal rules. Every state generally works that way. So there's state oversight. The concept is the federal government's not big enough to see every dollar. You put it down on the state level, the states are supposed to be watching it. They're not watching it. Gavin Newsom's total is somewhere, it ranges, but they believe a big chunk of this is in California. Yesterday we heard about Ohio, where they were 40% of one of their programs was going to one county. I think it was called Franklin County in Ohio, 40%. And I think that was also hospice. So you've got the medical transport money that was being abused by the Somalis in Minnesota. They were faking that they were hauling people to the doctor and to treatments. They weren't doing it. They were getting the money, and a lot of it was going out of the country. Then you've got the hospice situation. Think about that. Think about how insidious this is. You've got people with terminal illnesses who are in the final stage of life. Our government decides we'll create a program to take billions of dollars, dole it out to states so states can have a supplement to maybe their own funding to give some end-of-life care to people that need to be in a hospice. And the family's sad. A lot of these families couldn't afford it. Hospice is supposed to be there to give comfort in those final days. It's the hardest time for a family when you lose somebody. And then think about the people that are alone. They just kind of die alone. They get sent by the county over to the hospice, and that's it for you. And these sorry, low-life bastards, both the people that are rigging the system and the government that doesn't care enough to look. Let me pause right there and give you a phrase I remember Elon Musk saying when he was first involved with Doge. Sometimes it's when people say things simply that stick with me the most. And in his weird way of talking, I remember somebody asked him about how would this money have gone missing? He goes, well, nobody seemed to have cared. You have to care. You have to care to be a good steward. You have to care to hold people accountable. You have to do the hard work of flipping over rocks and asking questions, even running a damn computer file on your outlay to know that 47 of these checks just went to the same address. No one was doing that. Because again, it's a patronage system where the more money they can dole out, if you're in politics or the bureaucracy, the more political capital you get. The more you look like some kind of Santa running around in a community funding things, and the rest of the country's getting ripped off by it. And that's a model that's bigger than the fraud model. That's the Richard Shelby model, which his protege is also attempting to copy, where they come home with these giant checks and get on the copy on the front of each newspaper about all the funding they're getting back home, and they look like heroes, and the government can't afford it. We're borrowing money so they can look like heroes on the front of the paper. And then eventually they'll get their names put on the building with other people's money, like they did something. So when it comes to those politics, you go to these states where the fraud's occurring, and there's a reward in it for the politician to not catch the fraud, but to brag about the spending that they're doing. Why, we've invested. They'll get in front of a damn news anchor and go, well, we've invested last year $2 billion in helping the neediest among us get hospice care. And truthfully, there wasn't a damn soul getting any of the money. The money was going to people that don't exist, to licenses that weren't even real. Who knows how it got funneled in or out of the country. There have been a couple of things in a couple of days. Yesterday, Todd Bessent said that you are no longer able to wire money outside this country if you're on the public take. That should have been a rule 57 years ago. I just made that number up. It really should have been a rule the whole time. But today, they've also suspended any new federal hospice licenses nationwide until they get a handle on just that program. There's some other things they suspended as well. They've cut California and a couple of states off from any more funding until they get a grip. And they've generally put out today a national warning to every state that unless you turn over your documents as to how your program is running, no more money for you from the feds. Will they be accountable and answer to that? They'll stall, they'll sue, they'll go to court, and they'll try to keep from being accountable. But this is how you do it. This is how you clean it up. And I'm glad there's a focus on it. Because when it comes down to you and me and the people who are still young enough and able to work, who are still trying to pay the bills and pay the copays and do the doctor visits and take care of your kids and your family the right way, you're playing by the rules. Part of the expense that's been driven sky high is the fraud in our government, in addition to the inefficiency. Some of it's incompetence, some of it's criminal, and it's so big, I don't even know if we can sort it out. Those are two huge stories. If we go back to COVID and how the government broke its trust with us over that, and then this situation where you've got some people suffering without claiming they don't have access to care because they can't get a hold of the funds because the funds are being given to a bunch of illegal immigrants who are taking it out of the system and sending it to their hellhole third world sandal wearing dirt road nations. It's just outrageous. All right, let me calm down. We'll do a break. We'll go back on the phones. I see Tom over there. EcoView Windows. We're just talking about your power bill earlier here on the show, too. You got to do everything you can, and one of those ways is to button up your home and get your windows tight. EcoView says they can save you 35% on your bills, and I believe them because they know what the industry averages are, and they know what a leaky house can do, and they know what their products can do if properly installed. So let them come properly install them. They'll give you a free estimate, count your windows, measure everything, tell you what it's going to cost, help you with all of that. When they come to do the install, that's what it seems like our listeners are the most impressed with, the way they work. They come in, they don't leave a mess. They're done quickly. The house is beautiful, and you instantly start to see the savings on your power bills, particularly. And I've gotten that eyewitness testimony from a lot of folks. It is ecoviewwindows.com, ecoviewwindows.com. Back here in just a minute. Man, you're just shaking all the music up today, AJ. Throwing us off a little bit. Y'all be careful if he sneaks a cattle song in. You'll get a chance to win 2 tickets this afternoon.
Yep. And what caller number 3 and all that good stuff?
Caller number 3, yeah. I was about to ask you. Caller number 3 to AJ if you hear cattle anytime this afternoon. 2 tickets to Jawbone Jam Friday night. Y'all come and hang out with us. Douglas Cooling and Heating also bringing you the show tonight. We've got a lot of sponsors here on the show that are just needs in your life. Some are wants, I would think, like Distinctive Pools. Some are needs. And, man, the needs, you got to have a good heating and air person in your life to take care of your home. Things happen. It can be an emergency. It can be something's just getting a little weird. We all need to be doing that twice a year service work. I'm telling y'all that pays for itself all the way down the road, both in the efficiency of your system and your power bills and the life of the system. So let them help. Douglas will be coming out earlier this year, Douglas Cooling and Heating, of course, and help me with an expansion to the system on my home. We're doing a little bit of renovation work this year. I'm going to need a little more capacity. Looking forward to them doing the job because I don't even have to think twice about it. It'll be done correctly. CallDouglas.com, CALL, CallDouglas.com, license number 2017181. And, of course, if you've got any plumbing needs, they've got a huge plumbing division, too. They'll take care of your home for you. Jay's a good dude. CallDouglas.com. Here's Tom in Madison. What do you know, Tom?
Wuhan. I just sent you another email. I forwarded one I sent you on February 5th in 25 about France, who helped Wuhan build a lab, gave them the technology, and was supposed to, under agreement, it was after the SARS outbreak.
Yeah.
And so, but I just send you this link, and the French were kicked off the project before the BSL-4 lab was construction was completed, commissioned, and operators trained to international standards. You know, this is so. If you want to look at that again.
Yeah, I remember that from when all this was being speculated on.
I just sent it back to you. Can I say your email address I sent it to?
Well, I think I saw it. I was scrolling through some stuff a little while ago. I saw a link.
I just sent it back to you from February 25. I forwarded it to you.
I got you, man. I got you. Yeah.
Man, and it's deep, Dewey, and they recommend. I mean, it came from the Sun is where I got it from, but they're referencing Daily Caller. So, and it talks about the previous Trump administration officials who is now working for a think tank.
The story back then was it was a combination of things. The French weren't just kicked off. The French kept raising concerns about the safety of the lab. And they kept telling them this is not safe. And they raised so much cane about it, they just parted ways from. In other words, Fauci was full steam ahead with the Chinese to do it as recklessly
you did read
as possible.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw it a while back.
All right. Well, God bless. That's all I got. And
Thank
maybe
you, Tom.
that guy with the high power bill needs to call him an electrician to get out there and find out if his heat strips are stuck or something.
I felt sorry for him, but that is definitely something going on right there at his house that's got to get fixed. Thank you, Tom. But, you know, AJ and I will give bad advice. It used to be something we did more often. So if you got any kind of problems that we know nothing about, we will tell you what to do. Car problems, relationship issues, recipes. We'll make it up on the fly. We don't care. That's what all the experts do anyway, right? Back in a minute.